Mics, camera, action. Welcome to Takaro Kids, a weekly podcast that helps kids of all ages understand the events that shape the world around them. And this week, Debbie, is going to be something very interesting, very explosive.
Yes, something very explosive. In fact, something that almost went off like a bomb is how it was described by some people. We are going all the way down to Africa, to a country which is in the Horn of Africa, actually, on the eastern side. Now, if you go and look at the maps, Africa is like a big triangle. This is on the right-hand side. There's a little horn type thing that sticks out. That is where this country is. It's called Ethiopia.
So, Hayli Gubbi, is that how you pronounce it? I have no clue. But
I have no
let's
idea.
call it, let's call it Hayli Gubbi. Maybe you all can tell us how it's pronounced. Is a volcano that just erupted. Volcano eruptions are always extremely, I would say, fascinating to see, but super scary if you're close to it. And this particular volcano has not erupted for 12,000 years. 12,000
Wow.
years. Yeah.
That's a very
it's
long
just
time.
erupted.
And that's why they're saying it's such a big deal, right? Because this volcano, this particular volcano, was supposedly dormant. The earth is full of volcanoes, right? Some of them are active, some of them are dormant. This particular one was supposed to be dormant. It's supposed to be sleeping, no action there, seen ever in the entire Holocene era. Now, what is the Holocene era? It's basically a time period right after the Ice Age. It's the entire time that mankind has been around. Okay, that's one way to describe it. Right? It's also sometimes called the Age of Man. So during the Holocene era, which is literally the last 11,700 years, this volcano has been sleeping, and it's finally erupted. Nobody expected. Nobody saw it coming. So yeah, it caught everyone by surprise, and everyone wondering, how did it really happen? Like, what happened to wake it up?
Just to kind of double click on the actual explosion and what the result was, is that the ash that gets generated when a volcano erupts, there is lava, hot molten lava that flows out, and then there is a subsequent plume of ash, like big clouds of ash that rise up, and this goes up to 45,000 feet. Now, 45,000 feet, just to give you an example, the average airline or the aircraft that you go in from, Bangalore to Bombay or Bombay to Delhi or wherever it is, it goes to a maximum of 30, 32,000, maybe 35,000. But this ash plume has gone 45,000 feet.
Some private aircraft will go up to 40,000 feet, 42,000 feet as well, by the way. But that's
Correct.
just very few types of aircraft, right? Like a helicopter, just to give you an idea, a helicopter is at around maximum of 5,000 feet. Okay, so, whenever you've looked up and you've seen a helicopter, it's usually between 1,000 to 5,000 feet. So just can you imagine how high this one was?
Yeah. And this eruption lasted hours, several hours. And luckily, though, it was in a very, very remote location, right? So not too many people, obviously with these ash clouds, there's ash that's going to spread far and wide. It's so far and wide, the impact, that they're assuming it's actually going to hit India. The ash clouds are going to flow through the air, through the atmosphere, and come all the way to India. In fact, it's already been in the Arabian Peninsula. So countries like Oman and some of the other countries, it's already kind of impacted. And what's interesting is when this ash plume or the ash clouds, when they move, what happens is volcanic ash has gases in it as well. And most notably, it's sulfur dioxide, right? So when it reaches those high altitudes, the same altitudes that your aeroplanes are in, sulfur dioxide can be very disastrous for an aeroplane. It can go into the engine systems, it can burn the engine system. So a lot of airlines reroute the entire sort of path. They don't go past these clouds anymore. So a lot of airlines have actually moved away from the Middle East, have moved away from North India, and changed their entire course and direction.
Some of them just cancelled. Yeah,
many
some
of
of
them
them
have
cancelled.
cancelled. Yeah,
Akasa, Air India, they all cancelled flights, in fact, just as a precaution, right? To make sure nothing can go wrong.
correct, exactly. And also these ash clouds then spread ash everywhere. So even though this volcano was far away from big civilization or big towns or whatever it may be, um, it actually will still spread all that ash into different regions, far off regions. So even within Ethiopia, you would actually have the ground covered with ash. And so even if you had livestock like cows and chicken and all of them who are grazing, it is now a land that's covered with a lot of ash.
Wherever they got their food is all covered with ash. So that's really going to be bad for Ethiopia. Is anyway a country that struggles with food. It is a very poor country, unfortunately. So it struggles. It's a very dry, arid area. So which means it struggles to grow its own food as well. So there you have it. So animal health, the health of the people in the in the neighborhood, everything is going to be affected pretty badly.
And the weird thing is, no one actually knew this was going to happen. And the reason is, so usually there are early warning systems, but this is so far away and so remote that this Hayli Gubbi volcano is so far away and so remote that no one really paid too much attention to it. And they weren't monitoring it 24/7, like some of the volcanoes in Japan and Hawaii, which are all very, very active. This has been dormant for 12,000 years since the last ice age, right? And so no one was really kind of monitoring it. Scientists had seen some activity through satellite images, had seen some volcanic rivers flowing and lava flows happening through satellite images, but they didn't really assume that there was going to be such a massive eruption, right? And which is why it was completely unexpected, because there was no one who predicted this volcanic eruption.
So now we're going to go into what actually happened. So for that, we have to understand how the Earth is made, right? The Earth's crust is built up of something called tectonic plates. Now, what are tectonic plates? They're basically multiple pieces of a puzzle that are all attached to each other, and they form the crust of the Earth. This is part of the mantle. Now, I'm sure you might have done this in school, the different layers of the Earth. So this is part of the outer layer of the Earth.
The way I kind of explain it or think about it is, think about a bed. You're sleeping between your mother and your father, who both have their individual blankets, and they're one over the other, and then it gets pushed and pulled, right?
So yeah. Correct. That's a great way to describe what tectonic plates are. So yeah, that's the thing. The thing about tectonic plates is they keep moving. Even though it's like a puzzle piece, these layers keep moving, they keep grinding against each other. So now usually what happens when these tectonic plates are moving, if two of them come together very close, they tend to buckle and fold like the blankets would do. If you push them together, what would happen? You would have a little mound, right? You would have a little mountain that would form. And that's exactly what happens. That's how mountains are built, when plates push into each other. Earthquakes happen when these plates are grinding past each other. Now, remember, these plates are actually floating on this semi-solid layer of really, really hot rock. Okay? Really hot boiling rock. That's what they're moving on, right? And when they're grinding past each other, all this energy that is created, if you know, this is almost like friction. If you've learned about friction, if you rub your hands together, what happens? You create heat. Same thing happens here.
Yeah, it gets hot.
Yeah. So you're creating lots of friction, so then earthquakes happen. Now, the other thing that happens with tectonic plates is when they move apart. That's what happened here in Ethiopia, right?
So generally, these tectonic plates are constantly moving closer and further away. What's really interesting is, I don't know how many of us know this, but there weren't continents at one point of time. All the landmass on Earth was all one big piece. And then
what was it called, Kiran?
You tell me. Are you researching very quickly?
It was called Pangea. I know this because my daughter did this in school. I was confirming it, but I do know the answer. It was the supercontinent, which was called Pangea.
Correct. And so as the tectonic plates kind of shifted, they all broke away and became the continents that we have today, Asia and Africa and Europe and so on and so forth. And actually, these continents are named because of the tectonic plates that they're on. And that's how actually we kind of understand where continents are. And that's how Asia is actually connected to Europe, but it is still two different continents because they're on two different kind of plates as well, right? So this Hayli Gubbi sits on the East African Rift System. Years, EAR.
That's the name of the tectonic plate, is it?
No, it's called the Rift System because there is a rift over there. And this is a zone where the Earth's crust is slowly being pulled away from each other. So it's actually tearing. If you think about it, it's actually tearing. And it has these kind of, think about it. Your two blankets, your dad's and your mom's blanket starts moving away. Suddenly in the middle, there's a gaping hole. Right? And
in the middle is you without a blanket.
Exactly. And so you talked about this hot mantle and the lava that's there. Suddenly, when these plates move away, this lava comes out. And that's exactly what happened at Hayli Gubbi this time. So think about it. Blankets are very, very important. Very important to make sure that they're staying together. And so in this area of the Earth, it's actually being pulled away. And that's really what caused this to suddenly kind of erupt.
Interesting. But the good thing is nobody died in this, but we'll have to see now what the repercussions of the ash is going to be. Now, the ash is very bad. We are already experiencing it in India, right? The air quality that we have is really poor. So imagine for them, they have actual ash that they have to breathe in. Everything is covered with this. So we have to see how that's going to affect the people here.
This brings us to the most talked about, the most anticipated part of each episode. And what is that, Devi?
It is quiz time. That's right. It's time for the Takaro quiz for this week's episode. The question we're asking is, what is India's only active volcano called? No options for this one. Look it up.
Ooh.
Now, just, fun fact here, India has around 7 to 8 volcanoes, okay? Which I did not know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Well, they're all over the place, but I'm not going to give that answer at all because, then one of them will be the hint to today's episode's question.
Apart from that one, what about the others? Where are the others?
The good thing is, I have it open right in front of me, and I will tell you. We have something called Narkondam Island, which is a dormant volcano. There are some hills in Gujarat, which are also extinct volcanoes. Extinct volcanoes means they are properly dead, right? So you have dormant, you have active. Dormant means sleeping. Active means it can erupt anytime. And you have extinct volcanoes. Volcanoes that, scientists have said are not going to erupt. There's nothing left in there. So we have a few extinct ones, which are in Gujarat and Haryana. We have something called mud volcanoes as well. These are also somewhere in the Andamans, and they only give out gas. They don't give out lava, right? That's super interesting, right? So anyway, different types of volcanoes.
Actually, I don't know if you remember, but last year we did this episode where I went into a volcano, and it was in Bali, and it was so amazing. It was a dormant volcano, but you could still go into the mouth of the volcano and trek in, and there would be these holes through which there was this sulfur coming out and heat coming out. It's amazing. And sulfur, this is actually what will explain why it's so dangerous for aeroplanes. In that volcano, you could bring a matchstick and just keep it over the hole where sulfur is coming out.
Was emitting
matchstick, and it'll just burn.
Wow.
Automatically.
Amazing.
Just magically. Yeah, you could bring anything and it'll actually burn because that sulfur is, so potent.
Flammable.
And so which is why it's so tough for airlines to kind of fly through ash clouds and so dangerous actually.
Super interesting. Yeah, so that's your quiz question. Tell us, look it up. What is India's only active volcano? The winner, the lucky winner, because it's not just about the correct answer. The correct answer is important, but it's not important whether you send it right away, whether you send it next Thursday. We will give you time. You have time, and we'll pick one lucky winner with the correct answer who will win a Takaro Kids t-shirt and a gift voucher.
And talking about quiz questions, last week's quiz question was, where was the highest ever AQI recorded in the world? I mean, we know Delhi is bordering between 350, 400, and that was what we were talking about. But Where was it? Where was the highest ever recorded?
Worst air quality index ever recorded. We'd given you options. There was Beijing, which is in China. It's at Delhi in India. It's at Lahore in Pakistan and Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Funnily enough, I mean, we had no idea this volcano was going to erupt in Ethiopia.
Or we predicted it. We predicted it, and we knew we were going to talk about Ethiopia the next week.
We knew that their AQI was going to be really bad.
Yeah, see?
I wonder if we can make some money out of this, Kiran. But yes. But the correct answer that we were looking for is Pakistan, Lahore. And turns out actually there was Multan, which actually had the highest, but it was Multan, between Multan and Lahore. Both are places in Pakistan that have recorded the highest ever AQI. We are talking about 1900 to 2000 AQI. I mean, I don't even know if machines can go and read that much, that high.
That's crazy. So who was the lucky winner, Debbie?
The lucky winner for last week's episode is Sarah. Sarah is 8 years old and she's from Pune. Congratulations, Sarah. You win a Takaro Kids t-shirt and a gift voucher, which is going to be on its way to you very, very soon.
Amazing. Congrats, Sarah. And we will expect your answers for this week's quiz question. TakaroKids.com, or you could potentially send it over on Instagram as well. Make sure you send it, no timelines. Doesn't matter how many times you've sent it before. Send us the answer. And until next week, it is bye-bye.